Let's define a function, call it getNumber. Here I'm going to define a loop. So for bar I equals 0, as long as I is less than 10, we're going to increment I with ++, and then we console.log of I. Pretty simple, right? Let's call this function, set the changes, back in the browser. So here we see the numbers, pretty straightforward. However, there's a problem with the bar keyword in JavaScript. In most programming languages, when you declare a variable, that variable should only be accessible in the block of which it is defined. This is what we call scope, right? So in this case, I should only be accessible inside of this for block. However, I can come here and log I on the console, and you'll see that I is still accessible in here. So go to the console, look, we got I displayed here. We got this last iteration, I equals 10, and because 10 is not less than 10, so we exit this loop. So this is what I want to take away. When I declare a variable with the bar keyword, that variable is accessible inside of this function in which it's defined. And this is one of those weird things in JavaScript that's different from other programming languages. So in ECMAScript 6 or ES6, which is a version of JavaScript introduced in the year 2015, we got a new keyword for declaring variables, and that is let. So let came to solve this problem. So when you declare a variable with the let keyword, that variable is only accessible inside of that block. Now let's see the results. So set the changes, go to the browser. Now we get this error on the console. So this is what I want to take away. Variable with the bar keyword are scoped to the function, whereas variable declared with the let keyword are scoped in the block in which they are defined. Now we also have another new keyword in ES6, and that is const. We use const to define constants. I'll show you that in a second. But similar to let, variable defined with the const are also block scoped, so they are only accessible inside of the block which they are defined. So let me show you the difference between let and const. So I'm going to delete all of this code here. Let's define a variable, set it to 10. Now if you reassign this with the 20 and set the changes, back in the browser and see there's an error. So when I see a variable with a const keyword, that variable cannot be reassigned. That's why we refer to that as a constant. So technically it's not a variable because it cannot change, it's a constant. So let's quickly wrap up. Throw away the bar keyword and prefer to use const over let. We use let only when we wanted to reassign a variable. That's all about the const and let in ES6. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.